Hi, everyone. Welcome to Conversations with MM. This is Marivir Montebon for another special episode. This is one of our special episodes for our first anniversary um, celebrations. We were born 1 year ago on May 11, and we're so happy to have reached this little milestone, baby step. And we would like to thank our supporters, our readers, our viewers for taking us to this point in time. And by necessity, also historical necessity, I am so honored to have with us the mother of our guest before, Sharon Goldfarb, and her daughter Eleanor Goldfarb. They were talking about the diaspora of her mom and grandma to the Philippines. And now I am so honored to have with me who's going to tell us their story of that diaspora. She's no other than Miss Susan Simke Bilar. Hi,
Yes.
Susan.
Hi,
Thank you
thank
so
you for
much.
having me.
It's an honor to have you, and you are there right now in Switzerland, and I'm so happy that we're able to connect. And ladies and gentlemen, Susan is a professional art
Artist.
consultant and collector by profession, but she would love to be called the mom of Sharon and the grandma, Lola of Eleanor. So welcome again. So tell us the story of your mom, Rita, and her mom who came to the Philippines. This is the story of a Jewish diaspora at the time of the Holocaust. So we would be so glad to hear that from you directly, Susan.
Right. Well, my mother was a doctor, a neurologist in
Mm-hmm.
Breslau, which was then Germany, but it's now Poland.
Mm-hmm.
And she had her own practice. And then came the Germans, the Nazis, and they took away her license. And
Oh.
she was no longer able to practice in her practice. And the only place she could practice was in the Jewish hospital, which was
Mm-hmm.
very near where she lived. And it was then the best hospital in that whole area. Um, Her brothers had somehow made, she had two brothers, somehow made it to the Philippines via the United States. They had gotten visas. And as the Nazis were approaching, they asked her and their mother, my
Mm-hmm.
mother's mother, to come. And very luckily, my mother and my grandmother received a visa from the American consul in Breslau to go to the Philippines, which was then a Commonwealth of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So they took the Trans-Siberian Railway to Shanghai, and from there a boat, and landed in the Philippines. That's how they got there.
Wow. So do you know how many months or days did they travel?
Actually, I don't. And if they, I probably was told, but I can't remember.
I see. So when your mom and your grandma were in the Philippines, how was their life? What were they? How were they doing in the Philippines? Were they
Well,
adjusting
my
well?
mother,
Were they
my mother
accepting?
actually met my father, her
Mm,
husband to be, which she didn't know it then, when she landed, because
mhm.
he worked in Bacolod. He was the manager of La Estrella del Norte in Bacolod, and somehow he was in the Philippines in Manila for some reason.
Uh-huh.
And one of my mother's brothers, the youngest one, had been killed by
Oh,
a cook. There was a brawl, and somehow he got killed. This was in 1940 because my mother, they arrived in 1940.
oh, that's
And yeah,
so sorry about that.
thanking President Quezon, that's how they came with the
Yeah.
open doors.
Mm-hmm.
And so somehow my father was chosen to bring this bad news to them when they came down. And
Mm-hmm.
well, of course, it was a shock. And yeah, that was her first entry to the Philippines. It wasn't such a pleasant arrival. But somehow, I don't know, they got together and they got married, and then they went to the Bacolod where they were during the war. My
Mm-hmm.
grandmother and the other brother stayed in Manila,
I see.
as far as I remember, I'm told.
So were
And
you born in Bacolod?
I was born in Bacolod. I was a liberation baby, December 1945.
Wow. So you were the gift. You were that.
I was the gift, but actually, it was another sad story. The first boy, the first
Oh,
child of my parents, died. He was
oh,
born before me. He died when he was 6 months because I think it was meningitis, and there was no
oh.
antibiotic, if I remember the story. So that wasn't very pleasant either. I mean, their life in Bacolod was not great, but it was certainly better than in Manila.
So
The
what
Japanese
was
left
the
them alone.
Bacolod is a rural place, and so were your parents into farming? Were they
No, no, no.
doing
My
business?
father was the manager of the La Estrella del Norte and the Estrella Auto Palace. This was a little conglomerate. He was
Uh-huh.
the director down there. And afterwards, when he came to Manila, he became the manager, director of the whole thing in Manila.
So what was that business all about? The
Oh, it was
La
jewelry.
Estrella del Norte?
Well, it was jewelry.
Uh-huh.
And there was an Auto Palace. They were selling Hudsons. You probably don't even remember those cars.
Oh,
Our first car was a Hudson.
oh,
And
okay.
and I mean, this is ancient history for you. And then it
Yeah,
was a trading company, more or less. And
trading company.
yeah,
Amazing.
and the big jewelry store. I mean, in Manila, it was like the Tiffany's of the Far East.
Oh, oh yeah.
They had the Swiss jewelers,
Mm-hmm.
and anybody in the society in Manila would come there, bring their stuff, and have it made there, by the Swiss jewelers. And
So it was the glamour kind of livelihood or business.
yeah, then one part of it, yes, and then the other part was the trading, which I don't remember what they were trading. And then they opened a Estraco, which was a drug company. I mean, a pharmaceutical company, where
Amazing.
they imported drugs and then they made their own, like the Saint Joseph aspirin for children. They imported, and then they made Santo Nino.
Oh,
Yeah,
amazing.
things like that.
So your mom
And
was a doctor, right?
my mother was a doctor who never
Did she
practiced.
practice? Oh no,
No,
she did not.
she never regained her license. It was very complicated. I don't exactly know the reasons. It had to do with America and the requirements or whatever. She would have to go there, and it didn't work out. In any case, she never practiced, and she was very frustrated by not
Oh,
being able to practice. But
so what was she busy with?
oh, she was very busy with my father because my father was also the Israeli consul general in honorary capacity. So she
Uh-huh.
had a lot of hosting to do. And,
Yeah,
Manila
so
was,
your house was busy.
my house was busy, and they were
Amazing.
out, and you know how it is there, how
So
it was in the Philippines. And yeah, and plus the fact she did a lot of charity work.
there's this saying. Well, you're Filipino as well, being having been born there. Filipinos know how to party, and you see that in your own household, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, we had. I mean, it wasn't. There was a lot of dinners, put it this way, and
Uh-huh.
receptions, and all these different people came, and it was an interest. I had a very interesting life. It was an interesting house, and all kinds of people came. Yeah,
Yeah, but I'd like to start with your high school life. And I'm so interested in showing this out. You were a very busy and an active student leader at the
yeah, I
American School
was.
of Manila.
Yeah,
So
I was.
you were part of, look at you, you're so lovely.
Oh,
And
thank you.
you're
No, I
part
was very active. As this is the senior class picture from our yearbook called the Kawayan,
uh-huh.
and
Hawaiian means bamboo.
it
And so,
does, yeah. And
so
we also
you're
had
into,
a newspaper. It was called the Bamboo Telegraph, and
right. And
we
you're,
were
you
all
said,
very busy with those things. And
great.
I mean,
So
there was
that,
also sports and dancing, and
so this
um,
is, tell us about Scolia.
Scolia
Scolia.
is the honor society, and I was part of that. The drama
Amazing.
club, I don't remember. I think we must have put on some plays, which I can't exactly remember. The forum was kind of an intellectual organization. We would invite interesting people. I mean, we had Alejandro Rosas, who was then the Secretary of Education. He
Yes.
came. We had Dr. Reyes, who was the neurologist in
Mhm.
the Philippines. He was such an important doctor.
Mhm.
His daughter was at our school, I think 2 grades below me. and the Círculo Español. I don't remember exactly what we did there, but I mean, my Spanish teacher organized that. Charity
Mhm.
committee, we did a lot of charity work, and the election committee, well, we had elections for all kinds of things there. Um,
Mhm.
and Kawayan is this yearbook, and I was the activities editor, as I see. And then the senior class representative, that was me and somebody else, another
Mhm.
Filipino guy. And Bamboo Telegraph, the newspaper, and the folk dance team. Well, our gym teacher taught us a lot of folk dances.
So
And we
you
had
can you
well,
dance the tinikling?
tinikling, we danced too,
My
yes.
gosh. So,
Yeah.
but do you remember the steps? Do
Yeah.
you think you can still dance it now?
Yeah, we can still
Oh my
dance it.
gosh. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. So,
Yeah.
I don't dance the tinikling. We
Oh.
were not taught in school anymore.
No, it's a pity. It's such a beautiful dance.
Yes, it's amazing. It's difficult and it's very challenging, in fact, for professionals to be able to do it.
Yeah, and do you remember,
Yes,
you know the Bayanihan, what they are?
yes, the Bayanihan dance troupe. Yeah,
Okay, so the
I've seen
Bayanihan,
them.
you've
Yeah.
seen them. So the Bayanihan went to Israel and they
Oh.
performed there. I don't remember really. I mean, it must have been in the early 60s or something. And they were so thrilled. They were so welcomed and they had such a fantastic reception. So when
Mhm.
they came back, they were in Malacan. They came to Malacañan and my father was invited. So the
Oh.
moment they saw my father's car with the Israeli flag on it, they started to dance the tinikling in front.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
they were so happy to see it.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. So, but I would like to switch to the memory of your mom because you grew up without her. So, how was it being orphaned that early at age 12?
It was hard. It was, everybody had mothers and we didn't. I mean, I thank God I had a neighbor who was a mother with and father. There was a family with four boys, and
Mhm.
she was very good to me. And she was like a mother insofar as she explained to me all the women's things. And what can I tell you? That was the only kind of role model. Otherwise, I mean, my father was mother and father to us, and he was a
Uh-huh.
fantastic father.
Uh-huh.
And the house, of course, was we had a mayordoma who was fantastic to us, to my brother
Uh-huh.
and myself. And
Uh-huh.
I mean, why we missed? Well, of course, we missed that figure, but somehow he tried very hard
Uh-huh.
to compensate. Put it this way.
Oh, very nice. So, would you have memories of like how your mom passed away? Were you there when she had a stroke?
I wasn't there. I mean, I was there, but I went to school and I came
Mhm.
back and I saw a candle burning in the house.
Oh.
And I was wondering, why is this candle burning in the middle of the day? It was, we came home
Mhm.
like 1 o'clock or so. And then my father took us into the room and then
Mhm.
told it to us. It was such a shock. But,
Yeah.
well,
Mhm.
what can I do?
Yeah, and
That's,
your brother, how old was, what's the name of your brother and how
Jack.
old was he?
He was younger than me. I was 12. He was 8.
Oh,
He was
maybe
even
he
younger.
had little memory of your mom.
He has even less than me. I mean, I at least have a memory. I mean, I used to we used to go abroad every couple of years to meet my father's boss who lived in New York, and we would meet them in Europe or in America.
Mm-hmm.
And, and my mother and father and the boss would go away to like places like Venice, and they would leave us with my father's mother, my grandmother, and his nanny, who
Uh-huh.
used to visit my grandmother in London, and we would be for 2 weeks with them, and my father and mother and his boss and wife would go off on their own somewhere,
That's
and
good.
yeah,
So your grandma, Elfrida,
yeah.
how was she? Would you do you
Yeah, I remember her.
what do
She
you
lived with
remember?
us. She lived with us after when actually the other brother of my mother was
Mhm.
killed also in 1945, but during the Japanese times.
Oh
He was
gosh. Uh-huh.
apparently killed by a guerrilla. A
Uh-huh.
Philippine guerrilla was he. The brother had a chess set, and they were bombing, and he ran away, and he remembered he forgot his chess set, so he went back to the house, and there was this guerrilla, and apparently then he got shot. So
Oh my
after
God.
So after this happened, I mean, my grandmother, Elfriede, lived with us until she
Mhm.
died when I was 6 years old on my birthday. Can you imagine?
Oh my.
Yeah.
Oh, so you hardly remember her.
I hardly, but I remember her. You know, I remember she would. She was a businesswoman because she and her husband had a
Mhm.
hotel in Breslau. So
Oh,
I mean,
really?
she was. My father used to love to talk with her business because he was a businessman. My
Yeah.
mother was definitely not interested in business. She had her own interests. You know,
She
uh,
wanted to be a doc. She's a doctor.
she was a doctor and she was an artist, and so the two of them got along like a house on fire. He and his mother-in-law.
Amazing.
That I remember. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So you're Filipino by heritage. Do you really like feel like you like to eat Filipino food and all that? You have
Oh
certain
yeah, I make
certain
adobo. I make pancit.
tradition. Oh, you do. Wow.
Yeah,
Amazing. So
and
who
I
were
used to make lumpia when I'm too lazy. Now I can buy it.
so you cooked for Sharon and her
Yeah,
siblings the Filipino food. I
yeah. I
remember
think
Sharon would say like there was always rice.
always rice. I mean, to this day, yeah,
Rice is life for Filipinos, right?
yeah. We eat always rice. I mean, I eat more rice than anything else. Right?
I am interested on like um growing up. You're definitely your features not Asian, but
No,
did you
no
feel like
white bangus. They
you
call me
you're
used to call me white bangus.
oh my god, that's a tease. That's like bullying, but in a funny way. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. So how does that um how does that resonate with you inside you? Like you have two heritages.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It never bothered me. I mean,
Never bothered you.
I kind of celebrated it. How many people have two heritages? You know,
I know.
everybody's boring. I had at least of two. I grew up in the Philippines. It was a very international place.
Mm.
My house was very international. You know, we met a lot of people, all these, you know, in school. It
So
was,
you
we
are
had
the
every
multicultural.
nationality.
You are the multicultural woman.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah.
So it feels like you're home everywhere, right?
That's, yeah, in a way. Yeah.
Amazing. So let me look at your the guests in your house because I believe this also shaped you as a leader. And let's see. I will click on this one. This is your mom and your dad,
Yeah. And
right?
they
They
were in
are. They were.
Malacanang. I don't know what. I think it must have been either New Year or something. Whenever that some reception at Malacanang.
This is 1954 with
Yeah,
President and Mrs. Magsaysay.
right.
And so you are not sure if this was like a Christmas gathering or a
Could have been Christmas or New
New
Year or
Year.
something. Yeah,
So do you have memories of President Magsaysay? And
yeah. He was my neighbor when I was living in Manga Avenue, which was I think Santa Mesa area. He lived two
uh
houses next to us, and we used to see him. And when he was running for office, we would support him and take and pass out all these placards for
oh,
him.
you were supporting his
Well, we
campaign.
were supporting him, my friends in the neighborhood,
Wow. Did
Yeah.
you personally find him likable and
Yeah.
a good leader?
When I was 9 or 10 years
Oh,
old,
you were nine.
I was small. I didn't, to me, he was running for president. He was like a god to us. What can I tell you?
Right, right. And your dad was at the time still the honorary
Oh,
consul.
yeah, yeah. He was until he died. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. No, I
Mhm.
mean, he probably knew him better than me. And he
Yeah.
knew Carino, he knew Rojas,
Uh-huh. And
he knew them all.
here too, they
Carino,
meet
yeah.
with President Carino, the predecessor of President Magsaysay. And
Right.
this is, oh, your mom too.
Yeah. Must have
Your
been
mom.
also something, I don't know, some occasion.
Yeah,
Everybody's so dressed up, I mean, it's so
yeah.
nice.
Oh
Today
my
nobody
gosh.
dresses up.
Very, very dressed. And the daughter of President Magsaysay, I mean President
Carino,
Carino,
Carino, yeah, that's Vicky
beautiful.
Carino.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So let me also, we would like to thank your husband, Pedro, for sharing the pictures, for sending it to me.
Oh,
And who
yeah,
is this?
that's Vice President Garcia.
Oh, right, right.
Yeah,
Garcia is from Bohol. And this
yeah.
is his,
And that's his wife. Yeah, that's the same time, I guess, I guess maybe it was a new year because it was Magsaysay and Garcia. He was his vice president, and he became president when Magsaysay was killed in the
Oh,
airplane crash.
right, right. Oh my gosh. So, and this is you. You as
That's
a,
me and a friend of mine, Ilona, who grew up with me, and that's Secretary Roses, Secretary of Education, who we invited to speak at the school in
uh-huh.
this at the Forum Club.
Amazing. You know, Alejandro Roses was a very inspiring individual in the literary sense and also
Yeah,
in the education sense. He has a very great legacy.
I
And
know.
so, how did you find him?
Oh, I knew him. I knew of him, or I met him somehow, and we thought that the Secretary of Education he should come to our school, so we
Mhm.
invited him. You
I
know,
see. So your school, the School of America in Manila, is that the name? So this is like an international school.
well, it's
How many
now called
students?
International School, but in my time, we
Yeah,
were in the old school. It was in Taft Avenue. It was called
right.
American School. Now it's called International School,
So your
and it
curriculum was American.
was American.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Amazing. Now
I
let me
mean, we
show
learned a
this.
little bit Philippine history, but not much. I mean, we should have been learned more actually.
Okay.
Maybe
So
now they do. So
I think so. I have friends who graduated from it and they know pretty much about Philippine history. So here, I'll flash this picture. This is your mom, your
no,
dad.
that's not my mom. No, no, that
This
is
is
that's
your dad.
my mother had died already in 1957. This is Mrs. Marcos in
Yes,
'64.
this is
Yeah, I don't know
First
where this
Lady.
was. It was some reception. Oh, I think it must have. It's a reception because behind my father is
Uh-huh.
the wife of the second Secretary of Israel or
I
something.
see.
Yeah, yeah,
So the young Imelda is really like lovely.
yeah. My father knew Imelda a long time because she used to be working
Uh-huh.
in in Escolta in one of
Oh,
the jewelry stores. I think it was Rebolida or something. I'm not sure. And he was the La Estrella del Norte was on the corner of Jones Bridge and Escolta. And yeah, so from there he knows her.
I
You know,
see.
so
So
and
Estrella del Norte, now
yeah,
I know. It's like Northern Star,
Northern
right?
Star, and it was
Yeah,
like a Tiffany's of the Far East.
amazing. And then let's do this. Look at this. This is your the young Susan.
Yeah, the young Susan. This was also my idol. Golda Meir was invited by Vice President Pelaez. She
Uh-huh.
was Secretary of Foreign Affairs, and she was invited to the Philippines, and she made a big hit with
Uh,
everyone there. And I was lucky. I was there, and I received her with my father at the airport. And then I know that we had a big reception in the house. We had a dinner where she and was the diplomatic corps and the Jewish community, and it
mhm.
was very nice. It was in Quezon City still.
Was there something she said? She made a remark about that struck you, that made you like her more during this visit, during your interaction.
I don't know. She was very kind and was like a grandma, and she was she was very humble, let's say,
Oh,
and
nice.
it kind of was impressive to a young girl. She took time to talk to the
Mhm,
young people and my
mhm.
friends who were there and at the party in our house. And I mean, I have even a picture with her and a couple of friends. I couldn't give you all the pictures. Uh, so yeah, she was just. I was following her, her itinerary, how she became who she became.
Mhm,
It was very impressive. Don't forget, it was a woman, and
mhm. Yeah, she
that
was ahead
wasn't
of her
so
time.
usual in those days.
Right, right. So was she your like inspiration when you went to
She
college
was
or
my
like
inspiration. I always wanted to be the next Golden Mayor. It was didn't happen.
let me take a look at this picture. This is you on your birthday.
This was, on my 20, I think it must have been my 21st birthday when I happened to be there on vacation because I was already studying in Israel. And
Mm-hmm.
my father threw a party in the house. This was already in Forbes Park. And my idol, Raul Manlapus, was there with his wife.
This is
And
the young Senator Manglapus.
young Senator Manlapus, yeah. And he, as I said, he spoke at our graduation. I personally
Mhm.
invited him after the headmaster allowed me to give the commencement speech at
Mhm.
our senior class commencement.
Do you remember what struck you the most in his speech? Or
Well, he's very eloquent. He was very eloquent. He was very well educated and
mhm.
had a wonderful demeanor, and he spoke beautifully. And he was very pro-American. It just was right for the school,
Great,
right
great.
for him.
And so this one too, who is this? He's an
This is
artist.
this is artist. This is Leah Ginaldo,
Mhm.
who is one of. I mean, unfortunately, he's dead now, but he was one of the. He is one of the Philippines' most famous artists,
Mhm.
and he was kind of like a stand in the house. He would always come to the house, and then when he finally got married, we were at his wedding, and
Oh.
then artists are all a little bit crazy, and he would have fights with his wife, and then he would ring our doorbell and say, and the girls who opened the door would come to my father and say, "Mr. Aguinaldo is at the gate. Can we let him in?"
Oh.
He would come, he would stay overnight, and then he would go
So
back
it's
to his
like
wife. Yeah.
he's like an adoptive son.
He was an adopted son, yeah. And my father used to help him with his paintings and he used to buy his canvases because he was actually excommunicated from by his father because he didn't
Oh.
want to go into the Aguinaldo business. Uh,
Oh.
remember, I don't know. I mean, there was the store Aguinaldo.
Uh-huh.
Aguinaldo was a very famous store,
Oh, I
and
didn't know.
had other businesses too. And uh, Lee's mother was American and
Oh, I see.
married to Aguinaldo, and he didn't want to go in the business, and so the father said, "Okay, so now you're on your own."
Mhm. So speaking of marriage, you were married. You were the last to get married at the Temple Emil
Temple
on
Emil,
Taft
yes,
Avenue.
yeah,
So I'll show this picture. This is you
that's me and
and
Senator Puyat.
Senator Puyat.
Puyat.
He was
Bill
your
Puyat.
godfather or like
No, he was
Ninong?
the guest of honor at our wedding. I mean, we
Uh-huh.
knew him for a long time. He was also in Israel. He came to Israel to visit,
I
and I
see.
was studying at the university, and I showed him around actually at the university when he came to visit.
I see.
Um, and so I don't know. He was a good friend of my father, and so I mean, he was invited, and he came, and yeah, that picture was taken at the Polo Club because that's where the party was, the
I
wedding
see.
party.
So when you married in the Philippines, you did not stay there. You moved to Israel, was it?
Yeah, my husband was in the army. He was
Uh-huh.
just given special permission to leave.
I see.
I mean, that wasn't so easy to get, but he did, and yeah, then we
You
got
stayed in
married and
Israel
we
for a
stayed
while.
ever
For a
since.
while. So was Sharon born in Israel or where?
No, she was born in America.
I see. And so, how many siblings does Sharon have? How
Sharon
many?
has a brother, Daniel, was also born in America. We went
I see.
to America after
Uh-huh.
Pedro finished the army. He had got a scholarship to do his PhD at Brown University in Rhode Island,
I see.
and that's where we went. And he started there, and much to the anguish of his mother and my father, he
Oh,
didn't finish his PhD. He did a master's because he was offered to be the vice consul of Israel in Boston, which he loved because he was doing a lot of work with the students.
I
And
see.
so I guess they needed somebody, and that's why we moved to Boston, and the children were born in Boston.
Oh, cool. So how come you're now in Zurich? I mean
No,
in
I'm in,
Zug,
in Switzerland. Yeah.
in Switzerland. So you moved out of the US?
We moved out of the U.S. when uh, I don't know. We decided that we didn't want to pursue this foreign office business
I
because
see.
there were bombs all over the place being sent. My father even got bombs which were
Oh,
intercepted by the CIA in Manila, and I
I
don't
see.
know. It wasn't so.
It was
So Pedro went to
it was
France
dangerous.
to the business school, and we were there for a year, and then we were in Germany, and then we came to Switzerland. We
That's
were
a long
nomad,
long travel.
long travel.
You were
Yes.
everywhere around the world.
Yeah.
So was it nice to you? Was this enriching to you?
Oh,
What,
very much. Yeah.
uh-huh. What's your attitude about like all these constant shifts of places?
Oh, you just, you make the best of where you are and you
Mm-hmm.
find your way.
Right, right. Wow. And then tell us a little bit of your art consulting right now. This is your passion, I suppose.
Oh, that's my passion. Yeah. Well, when I came to Switzerland, I was not allowed to work
Oh,
because it was really backward here with about for women. You were like the suitcase of your husband.
oh,
So
oh yeah.
um, I I became active in the International Women's Club, and I was the cultural director, and then I was the president. And I decided that I was going to learn, since I couldn't work, and I loved art, so I invited. I found people to talk to us about art. We went to the
Mm-hmm.
museums and all, and finally, when I was allowed to work,
Uh-huh.
so I started collecting a little bit and then selling and. Uh, yeah, and so that's it was like a snowball.
Right. So
And,
you're are you an artist yourself? Do you
no, not at
paint?
all. I can't draw anything, but I love to see good art, and
Uh-huh.
um, and, well, as I say, it's a passion. And every year I go to the art fair in Basel
I
for
see.
a couple of days. My younger days, I used to work for an American gallery for 5 days there, and that's how you learn. You go around and.
Well, I love art. It's like an expression, a deep expression of yourself.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, the
it's
Filipinos have
healthy.
wonderful artists. I mean, I'm in contact with some of the galleries there. I mean,
Mhm.
um, with Evita Sarenas. I don't know whether you know her from. Um,
No. I thought you that makes you young,
yeah, it does.
forever young.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd like to share this picture again. This is you and Eleanor and Sharon. This
Yeah,
was
this
in your
was
bat
Sharon.
mitzvah.
This was Ellie's bat mitzvah. That's the confirmation. It's the Jewish
Uh-huh.
confirmation for girls, let's say. And it was
Yeah.
in their
How
synagogue
old
in New
were the
York.
girls doing given this?
Yeah, well, in the religion, it's important it is for the boys. But
Uh-huh.
being 2023,
I
girls want equal time. So
at age
they have a bat mitzvah too. It's
15
not
is
it's not the same like the boys.
oh.
They don't have to do as much, and they're not but they're counted as, let's say, adults.
Mhm.
And so this was done at their synagogue in New York, and we were there. We were in New York last year.
So this
Um,
is special. This is like a milestone.
It's a milestone, yes.
Yeah, amazing. So would you want to come back to the US and have vacation here or stay here, or Switzerland is much better to live?
I wouldn't want to live in America. No, not at this time. Not
Not at
what's
this
going
time.
on
There's
there.
a lot of challenges here.
I'm not doing that. But I mean, even to visit to New
You can
York,
just come and visit. Oh, by the way, Susan, I have this picture of you wearing a Filipiniana. So this is
oh
great. This is
yeah,
at the Philippine National Day in 1970.
yeah, that was in Israel. I mean,
Beautiful.
that is such a beautiful dress. That's Maria Clara.
Yes.
I got this for my
Beautiful.
wedding. It's an heirloom. I got it from a friend of my father. She ordered it for me. I mean, it was very surprising to get something like this for a wedding, but I
Mhm.
cherished it, and I still have it. And I would give it
Oh,
to my daughter. Yeah, it's hanging in my here. That's, but I
that's
can't get into it anymore because I was so skinny. But
I see.
Karen could.
Oh my gosh. So looking forward to be able to see you. Well,
Yeah.
somehow, I don't know where, I don't know when,
Well,
but
one day,
it would be lovely to see you. Our meeting, ladies and gentlemen, was ushered in by Eleanor, who went inside the Philippine consulate at one point, and because there was a photo exhibit that she tried to, got curious. We were launching the photo exhibit, and she introduced herself as that her grandma was born in the Philippines, and definitely we got excited, and I even took a picture of her and her classmate, I think, and the consul general of New York, the Philippine consul general in New York. Conjen Mangalili. So it was a good conversation. That was how we connected. And then she showed me her report about her great grandma and you, Susan, and how you were born in the Philippines and your history. So I seized that moment, and here we are.
Yeah.
So that's really great. And so all the best to you. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing. Uh,
Yeah.
you showed in your previous talks the open door monument in
Yes.
Israel, which was a thank you, belated but a very big thank you
Uh-huh.
to President Quezon. Well,
Right.
for me, and actually also I guess for my brother, it was like coming full circle.
Uh-huh.
It contributed, to this special relationship that we have with the Philippines, and a tribute to President Quezon and the people of the Philippines. This was in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
It was a big thank you for helping receiving my mother, my grandmother, and the other Jews that looked for a place to come to.
Yes. Yes. And we are going to show the video, the footage of it in a little while.
Yeah.
So my thought is that, you know, an act of kindness, especially from somebody powerful, could create a lot of lives saved. And here we are talking about it and honoring that kindness and your mom's grit and courage, right?
True.
True.
And
So
the
we,
video, just to tell you, that was the only video made. It was made by my husband, and
yes,
it has about 180,000 or 188,000 likes. There,
amazing.
people just watch it
Right,
all
right.
the
Good,
time. It's
good that
amazing.
he has created that. I wonder if the Philippine government did it too, and we just cannot
No,
access
no,
it.
nobody did it. It was amazing.
Imagine.
Nobody. It was very strange that there was no video photographer there. There
Oh,
were photographers, but
yes,
not.
and I saw it, and then the consul general one time was in Israel when she had that speech. She was also serving for a while during the pandemic here in New York.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
Yes,
No, it
yes,
was such a beautiful ceremony. You can't even imagine. And to have those kids singing in Hebrew and in
yeah,
Tagalog, I mean, it just warmed your heart.
yes, yes. You feel like the connection of two
Yeah,
peoples are so
exactly.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. So we'll show that. And for now, we would like to thank you for your time, Susan, and all the best to you. Best of health, best of happiness, and
Till we meet again, and thank you so
and we
much.
will meet again in person, just like
Yes,
what we did
maybe
with
in New
Sharon.
York or in Switzerland, wherever.
Yeah, sure. So we will be right back, ladies and gentlemen, after this commercial break. Okay.
זה לא מאוחר, شخص الغلاء زمانها لا 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 لا
of the Philippines, the Honorable Dov Sur, Mayor of Rishon LeZion, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, on behalf of the Philippine Embassy in Israel and the Filipino community, I would like to express our appreciation for permitting us to participate in this momentous occasion.
לקיים ידידות, וכמו שהילדים כאן שרו, כולנו בדרך לשלום. כי השלום צריך שיתוף פעולה, פתיחות, הכרת תודה וסיוע האחד לשני. לצערנו, לא כל האומות בעולם מפתחות שלום כמו ישראל והפיליפינים. ואנחנו נמצאים בין אלה שצריכים לחזק ולהוביל ולתת דוגמה על מנת לקדם את העולם כולו לחיים של שלום ושיתוף פעולה. בהצלחה גם לכם.
המון תודה והולם גם הוא איזה עולם נפלא.
הללויה עם שיר הללויה היום שמאיר
Dear Tita Nieva, magandang araw. I am 35 years old and have been in a relationship with my boyfriend for 6 years in New York. I want to marry him, but he has not proposed. Both of us have good incomes. I am a teacher and he is a computer analyst. Is it okay if I propose marriage to him? Please let me know how to go about this. Thank you, Luis.
Hi, Luis. So, the best way that you can do this is start with a dinner. And after that, just be sure that you are prepared whatever will be the consequences of this dinner wherein you're going to propose to him. If you really love him, it's up to you how you're going to react if he says no. Good luck, Luis, and have a good life.
Hi, my name is Lisel Cobrador, and I'm an immigration attorney. I'm here to greet Conversations with MM on its first anniversary. Congratulations! At its inception, I was one of the guests of Conversations with MM. And I'd like to thank Marie Veer for always inviting me, for always making me part of the amazing show Conversations with MM. I am much looking forward to more wonderful accomplishments.
What can
I think there needs.
Hi! Hi! My name is Lisel Cobrador, and I'm an immigration attorney. I'm here to greet Conversations with MM on its first anniversary. Congratulations! At its inception, I was one of the guests of Conversations with MM. And I'd like to thank Marie Veer for always inviting me, for always making me part of the amazing show Conversations with MM. I am much looking forward to more wonderful accomplishments.
I think there needs to be like a threshold, a standard. From what I recall, I may not be accurate or really correct, but there needs to be a preponderance of evidence that there is this like cause of action. So what the quantum of evidence will be, that might be the uphill battle that you're talking about, because it's already, as you mentioned, a digital election right now.